Rabbits first reached Central Australia about 100 years ago. They cost the pastoral industry millions of dollars a year and cause enormous damage to the environment. There are various methods some people are using to try and reduce the damage caused by rabbits. Even with biological controls such as myxomatosis and calicivirus, it is important to destroy the warrens to keep the rabbits from coming back. Warren ripping is the most common method used and is the most effective and long-lasting way of controlling rabbits which live in warrens. Rabbit warrens are really important to rabbits. Without warrens, rabbits don't breed successfully and are unlikely to ever build to high numbers. So if we can get rid of the warrens, then we're well on our way to getting rid of the rabbits. The best time to do rabbit control is when things are hardest for the rabbits. You'll have more success if you do control after the rabbit numbers have already been knocked down by things such as drought or myxomatosis. When it comes to ripping, bulldozers and tractors both have advantages. Bulldozers are more powerful, but they're also more expensive to buy and run. As a rule of thumb for ripping warrens, the bigger the better, up to D6 size. Tractors are not as sturdy as dozers, and tyres can get staked. Tractors are relatively cheap to run, easy to manoeuvre, and can travel quickly between warrens that may be far apart.
Well, I've been using this tractor now for 5 years, and I found it very good. It's versatile, 4-wheel drive, and it seeds at the same time. It rips the warrens very well, and overall it's done a very good job.
There are some basic rules to ripping. Rip deep, rip wide, and try not to miss any holes. It's important to rip as deeply as possible. Rabbit burrows can go down 2 metres underground, depending on the soil. Rip at least half a metre down, and preferably more, especially on sandy soils. When it's dry, the soil collapses well and flows down into the deeper burrows. The exceptions to this rule are on more clayey soils and gypsum soils, which collapse better after a shower of rain. For effective ripping, rip at least 1 machine width outside the edge of the warren. Putting the rippers in early also ensures that the rippers are at full depth by the time they enter the warren. Always try and rip wide. This may look like the edge of the warren here, but under the ground, some tunnels may go outside the edge for a couple of metres. If you don't destroy these outlying tunnels, you can get reopenings around the edge. To collapse the warren thoroughly, it's often necessary to cross-rip. That means ripping in one direction, then ripping at 90 degrees across the first rip. On sloping ground, make your second rip across the slope, not down the slope. That way rain won't cause any problems with erosion. There are ways of speeding up ripping. You don't need to cross-rip if you use a blade plough or wide-wing boots. These implements lift and collapse the soil with only one pass. Having someone on a bike searching for warrens ahead of the machine is very useful. They can direct the operator from one warren to the next, make sure no warrens are missed, and keep the machine working all the time. Another useful idea during ripping is to have a dog which can chase surface rabbits into the warren before the warrens are ripped. If you leave the surface of the ripped warren rough, it will hold water and catch wind-blown seed. However, the sides of the furrows can give rabbits a soil face where rabbits will try and dig back in. The alternative is to smooth out the ripped surface. This can be done by backblading, simply dropping the blade or bucket as the machine reverses. Dragging a piece of railway iron behind the rippers can also leave a smooth finish. Ripped warrens can be seeded by hand or using mounted seed boxes. This can speed up vegetation recovery on the warren and stabilise the soil. It's important that the seed be ant-proofed. A range of grasses have been sown with success. When choosing sites to rip, consider places such as holding paddocks or where ripping will be fairly easy, such as flat open country or where the country might respond best to ripping. Work up to natural barriers such as hard spinifex country or rocky ranges where possible. Hard calcrete warrens are difficult to rip properly. Powerful dozers can break up the caprock using the rippers or collapse the caprock by driving along the edge of the warren. Don't leave boulders strewn across the surface because rabbits can use them to dig under. These hard rock warrens may be surrounded by large mounds of dirt which can be pushed onto the warren to bury it. The soil surface should be left smooth by backblading. It's especially important to check these warrens for reopenings after ripping. Any reopened holes can be fumigated. Fumigation, or gassing, is useful for treating a small number of holes or as a follow-up to ripping. Aluminium phosphide tablets are commonly used. These tablets cost about 30 cents each. Remember that the gas can also harm humans, so you should wear gloves and an approved gas mask and avoid breathing any fumes. Always open the canister downwind and away from your face or other people. Wrap 2 tablets in tissue paper and wet them with water. The moisture will activate release of the phosphine gas. Place the tablets as far down the burrow as possible with the aid of a PVC tube or some wire. Some crumpled newspaper prevents loose soil from falling back and smothering the tablets. Finally, seal the burrow entrance with about 18 inches or more of soil. When fumigating a warren, it's necessary to treat all the open holes. There's a lot of interest in rabbit calicivirus disease, or RCD. RCD could provide a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get rabbits under control, but it won't do it on its own. Warren ripping in key areas will become more important than ever, plus more successful and longer lasting. Combining the effects of RCD with other methods of control will help maximise the effects of the disease. Any benefits gained by RCD could be lost if it's not supported by other methods to help keep rabbit numbers down permanently. Without additional control, rabbit numbers could bounce back. Ripping costs about $500 per square kilometre, but in return the country responds better to rainfall. More feed is available for cattle and wildlife, the feed lasts longer, and the cattle hold their condition longer into a dry spell. Management are able to reduce stock when needed, rather than be forced to sell on a poor market. Ideally, effective rabbit control and recovery of the country can lead to more stable cattle production. CLMA, with support from the Parks and Wildlife Commission, are monitoring the effects of RCD. Rabbit numbers are checked by doing spotlight counts, and a sample is shot so we can determine the age structure of the rabbit population and whether or not they've recently had myxomatosis. Apart from monitoring rabbit numbers, we're also monitoring the number of dingoes, foxes, cats, goannas, birds of prey and small mammals to try and get an overall picture of the impact of RCD. The Department of Primary Industry and Fisheries are monitoring any changes in the vegetation. Even with RCD, Spanish rabbit fleas will still have an important role in the control of rabbits by helping to spread myxomatosis or RCD. To release fleas, simply tip a vial of fleas down an active rabbit burrow. Each vial contains 100 fleas or their cocoons. To give them a good chance of surviving, you should put 5 vials down 5 different active holes in the same warren. The fleas are surviving and spreading out from the release sites at the rate of about 2 kilometres a year. The benefits of rabbit control are immense. It will normally take a combination of methods or the repeated use of some methods to keep them under control. Reducing the damage that rabbits cause can lead to tremendous benefits to the natural environment as well as to primary producers.